everyone. It's another day, another Shocktober, and today we're going to be talking about our first zombie movie for Shocktober. Honestly surprised it took this long to get here. And we're also going to be talking about the most depressing movie on our list. But is it actually? Yeah, probably so far. So this was a movie that recently came out on Netflix, and I remember when the trailer came out, I was like, oh, that looks kind of interesting and different, and it's hard for a zombie movie to be different at this point. Pretty much everything with zombies has been done. They're very overplayed. Like, Walking Dead pretty much conquered zombies, and now it's like, oh, if you're not Walking Dead, I don't really think there's anything you can offer, but every now and then one kind of comes out and might surprise. The Battery is one I would recommend, but this is one that I remember the trailer came out. I'm like, all right, I'll give that a shot. And then I kind of forgot about it, and then I saw it on Netflix. So why don't I read the synopsis? This is kind of a long synopsis. Let me see if Google has a shorter one, because that one was really long. I was looking at the Letterboxd synopsis, and it almost looked like it was going to give away the entire movie. So I didn't want to do that right away. I'm probably going to do that as we talk. But, okay, so the new synopsis that I have here. Actually, this one's kind of long, too. Jesus fucking Christ. Okay, so this one says, a young woman named Anne struggles to survive after a mysterious epidemic decimates society. She leads an isolated life and battles the threat of the bloodthirsty survivors who are infected and lurk outside the forest. But when her supplies run low, Anne must make the desperate journey into town to forage for any remaining food. During one of these raids, she meets teenage Olivia and her stepfather, Chris. That's not, I mean, that's an accurate description, but calling it town is a little much. It's really one house that they ever show, although they do imply that there might be, it's kind of like, oh, you're seeing like this one house on the edge of town, and maybe there's more stuff going on. So this is a zombie movie with basically no zombies. There are zombies in the movie, not very many, and it's never exactly specified what kind of zombies they are. If they are zombies, like, are these humans? Do they eat people? Like, what's going on? But it's definitely like a viral infection has infected the population, and the movie opens and kind of cuts back and forth, flashback style, between Anne and her husband, and then Anne living alone. So it's actually Anne, her husband, and a baby. So the movie opens with the three of them going into hiding, and then we cut to Anne alone sometime later. So we know that the worst has happened. The husband has died. The baby has died. But we don't know how or why. And that's something we kind of get glimpses of throughout the movie. So like it's a very slow movie. Like, not a lot happens for a while. It's a lot of like, hey, let's watch her go through her day to day and struggle and trying to catch animals in traps, and she can't, and collecting grubs and bathing herself. They never explain what's up with the zombies, but they obviously are attracted to blood. And she like covers herself in mud to try to like sneak past them. It seems like that throws off their scent in some way. Like, it implies that almost maybe they can't see very well, but they kind of travel by scent, and so that's supposed to help her. But yeah, so she meets these two people coming back from one of her raids, and she decides to help them. The stepfather is basically dying, and then it just becomes like they're kind of hanging out movie, and debating of, should we stay here, should we move on? And she wants to stay there and wait because she feels guilty over the death of her family, but they're like, you should come with us, and she's like, no. We find out that he's the stepfather of the girl Olivia that's with them, and he had to kill her mom. Like, she got infected, and they talk about the infection of like, it usually starts with like these rings appearing on your stomach, and then the viral infection gets slowly worse and worse, and eventually he's like, I had to shove a knife in her ear and like kill her in front of her daughter, and now it's just us and we're out. And they're heading north, and I guess they're implying Canada because they keep talking about going north. And she's listening to a radio where you hear like French people, so I assume it's like, oh, going to French Canada. And that's kind of the struggle of the movie. But it's like obviously they need more supplies, and the movie kind of culminates in, okay, we need to do this thing where we're gonna try to go to town and get as many supplies as we can for the trip up north. And the main conflict kind of comes within the group. As I said, there's not many zombies in the movie. There's zombies in like one scene in the middle, and then a little encounter a little later on, and then at the end there's like a group of them, and like it's not a very big group. It's like 6, and that's kind of all there is. The movie's more of like, hey, let's follow the characters, let's hear the story. So that's kind of where it gets a little different. The ending is pretty fucking depressing. Like we find out that like she eventually her husband, we keep cutting back and we see that he's trying to teach her how to survive, how to do traps. Like he used to hunt in these woods with his father, so that's why they're hiding out there and stuff. And he eventually is killed. Like she's alone at night as he's out foraging, and then you hear some gunshots. The next morning she finds his dead body and the gun, and takes the gun. And then it's just her and the baby for a while. And then eventually she finds the spots start to appear on the baby, like the baby is infected. And so the most depressing thing ever, she has to kill her baby. And she does it humanely. Like she crushes up a bunch of aspirin and basically overdoses it with a bottle. So, it's some depressing shit. But, you gotta do what you gotta do. And, like, this movie made me feel terrible after I watched it. Like, the movie's okay. I liked it. I didn't love it. I would say if you're kind of willing to be in the mood for a feel-bad movie or like a horror film, it's not really scary to me. I don't know, it might be to some people, but it's okay. I gave it like a 3 out of 5. I would probably never watch it again. It's more of a one-time watch type situation. It's like one of those things where, like, I watched it. I'm glad I watched it. They do some different interesting things, but overall, I don't need to see it again. It's just okay. It's not gonna blow you away. But yeah, I just walked away from that one like, fuck, man. Like, I really need to go watch something really lighthearted. It's not a movie where everybody dies at the end, but it definitely it goes places. Like I said, the main conflict comes in the form of the stepdad and Anne start to kind of hit it off, and start to kindle a romance, and the daughter doesn't like this. Like she's like, you can't take the place of my mom. And when they're foraging for supplies, it kind of comes to a head there. And I'm not gonna spoil this one like that, because I'm not like, that's kind of the one thing you need to watch the movie for, is like the ending. So if anybody does want to watch the movie, I'm not gonna go any more into it, but I do think you should be warned about the baby thing, because it's coming, and it's just like, I think it's better to know and just not have to dread waiting for like, oh, what's gonna happen, because it's not like building suspense for a scare. It's like building suspense to feel depressed, and that's no good. But overall, the movie's okay. It's on Netflix, so if you have some time to spare, I think it's only like an hour and a half, so if you have some time to spare, you're looking for a different kind of zombie movie, it's a little slower, go ahead and give it a shot. But yeah, that's Here Alone, and I don't know, 3 out of 5. But that's going to be it for today's Shocktober episode. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about a horror film that I have been putting off watching for a long time, and finally excited I got to watch. It's going to be a throwback to the 80s. Not an actual 80s movie, but a movie that is throwing back to the 80s. So be sure to check in for that one tomorrow on tomorrow's episode for Shocktober, Halloween, October. I should start thinking about what movie I'm going to do on Halloween. It should be a good one. If you have any suggestions, I do have a couple of movies some friends have suggested that I need to get to watching. But if you have a suggestion for like, oh, what's the Halloween? What's the big one to go out on? I haven't seen Blair Witch yet. I kind of want to watch that one. I don't know if that's a good finale episode, but if you have any suggestions, let me know on the Twitters or in the emails. I would love to know your thoughts. I'm always looking for more horror movies. At this point, I'm kind of just browsing Netflix. I have a couple movies like physical that I need to watch, and a couple like digital that I'm going to be watching. But otherwise, I'm kind of just picking around on Netflix. So if you have any suggestions, let me know. But be sure to check back for tomorrow's episode. Thanks for listening.